It's time for your number one NAIA men's basketball podcast to begin, as the Road to Muni podcast with Junior and Coach Lubbers begins now.
Hello, NAIA Hoops Nation, and welcome to the Road to Muni podcast. Coach Lubbers is donning his Broncos gear in over there in Colorado, and I'm here still in Parkville, Missouri. Not quite game time for number 2 versus number 3, Georgetown and Arizona Christian today, but looking forward to that matchup later on for me. But Coach, I mean, this is kind of the frosting on the cake, right? I mean, we have had some great games all week long, and we get to end it with number 2 versus number 3.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, no, I wore this just for you today, Junior. So just had to make you happy, that we got a rivalry matchup coming on Thursday with the Raiders too. So, we'll go easy on you, but I had to wear that for you this week. But yeah, and you think about this week's games and great games this week. Saw a lot, nothing decided obviously this week, but yeah, I'd say for Georgetown, just given some of the early results, today's if it wasn't important before, it's really important now, just to make sure they stay secure with that. But still should be a really good matchup, and teams early on are figuring stuff out. But we got some other good games coming up this week too, so a lot of good action and got off to a great start here. And seeing the scoreboard light up every night is pretty fun.
Yeah, like I said, I'm at the Remy Williams Memorial Invitational. We did a podcast with Remy's parents last year, and Coach Klein at Park, and,
Yeah,
and obviously Coach Briggs at Georgetown. One of my favorite podcasts. I know it's one of yours as well.
absolutely.
Um, it's been fun to be out here and just see the impact that Remy made. If you don't know, please go back and watch the podcast, or read our preseason magazine. We put an article out on Remy there too. Just a guy that lived to serve, and that's just kind of what the NEI is. You want to find that servant leadership, and Remy was all about that. And it's cool to see out here they did a Special Olympics clinic on Thursday. They pack meals for people, for the homeless. They just do a lot of stuff to help serve, and it's cool to see the teams not just come from all over, where we get really good matchups like Peru State and Arizona Christian and Park and Georgetown all coming in here. But it's also really cool just to see, like, the impact that all the players going to do. Some classes you just go hoop, right? But this classic means a little bit more, and we'll get to some of those other classics, but I just want to make sure I gave a shout out to the Remy Williams Memorial Invitational, and I appreciate everybody hosting us here in Parkville.
Yeah, great family. Like I said, that was one of the most fun podcasts we did last year with the family a little bit, and awesome story. So yeah, make sure you go and watch that, and obviously tune in for some great basketball as well. And yeah, things like this sort of encapsulate what the NAI is all about. So love seeing all the ingredients of this classic, not just the story behind it, but the actual action that's
Yeah.
happening connected to it is really cool. And a lot of great coaches and teams, and there's a lot of great young men involved in NAI men's hoops, and a lot of great coaches as well that sort of latch on to classics like this, where it's more than just basketball. And the basketball is pretty dang good too, so that's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah, it's and all the way across the country, these classics that we've had this week. I'm a big proponent of classics already, just because we get to see a lot of matchups that we don't, probably get to see throughout the year. A lot of non-conference, teams matching up from all across the country, and it's just this week was a lot of fun. That's the only way I can put it. I mean, like if you think about the lead into, I know Division One gets started this week, this upcoming week, and I feel sorry for all those people that have been waiting for Division One basketball, because they missed out on a lot of great college basketball here this opening week here, or well, week 2 here in NEI, but the week leading up to Division One tipping off here, I believe, on Tuesday.
Yeah, absolutely. There's lots of great hoops that have been played already, and I just love some of these teams coming out of the gates playing. We got, like I said, top 10 matchups and top 25 matchups. Some of those teams that started the year just outside the top 25 knocked on the door really quickly and said, "Hey, we're here too." And made a statement. So it's going to be a lot of, as always, that next poll when it comes out, we'll have a lot of movement, but and there's still tons of hoops to play. So it's just fun to see where teams are at. Again, I think just put on display this week how many good teams there are. Uh, every year it seems like we're saying that more and more, but there are so many really good teams, that we saw this week and we'll continue to see. And that's been fun too, to just see the level just seems like it
Yeah.
keeps getting better and keeps getting better, every year. So really cool stuff going on across the country.
Yeah, you take a look at some of these teams that you talked about or fringe top 25. I think about that St. Mary, Kansas team who knocked off Langston, number 4 Langston on Friday, and then turned around and beat another team that we talked about, fringe top 25, Georgia Gwinnett, who is started off the year 3-0. I know they're still waiting to get one of their best players back, and once he's healthy, I think that Georgia Gwinnett team will be off and running too. But this is we're seeing on team, and then Peru State, they going and knocking off number 3 Georgetown yesterday. They're in the receiving votes category. I even look at a game like Mid American Nazarene and Dordt, two teams that have rich tradition. That game with a double overtime thriller, 114, 111. Just a sprint to the finish with two good offenses, but just teams all around the country that even if they weren't top 25 wins, picking up quality wins early in the year. And we're not sitting here telling anybody that they're winning national championships on November 1st, right? But like at the same time, like a lot of good teams challenge themselves early and are picking up really quality wins that will matter for seeding down the rest of the season. If they got to still qualify, obviously, but will help out later in the year as well.
Yeah. Well, another great game. I mean, top 25, you saw Life and Kaiser, right? 22 versus 25. I think it came down to a 2-point game. I mean, so many good matchups out there, and I love that, especially with the new model over the last few years, coaches aren't afraid to schedule, right? You used to just
Yeah.
see patty cake central for the first 10 games, and now it's like, hey, we better play some people. We're going to be on the outside looking in when it comes to selection time. So people stepping up, playing good teams, playing good competition, and hey, you take an L, whatever. You're learning, you're growing. But you get some of these early season wins too. They build your resume no matter when they happen. So it
Yeah.
really doesn't hurt to pick them up, but it's also, it's not going to sting too bad for some of these teams. They'll get over it. But early season stuff is what it is. It's just cool to see good teams playing each other.
Yeah, no doubt. And I even look at a team like I think records. You can there. Somebody's 3-0 is not somebody else's 3-0, and somebody's
No.
0-2 is not somebody else's 0-2. I think of a team that I'm watching out here. Park. Who I think that they're number 1 right now in strength of schedule. They're 0-2, but they played Arizona Christian and Georgetown, number 2 versus and number 3 back to back nights out here. Definitely a team that sitting at 0-2. But played a really good game against Arizona Christian yesterday. Probably a little bit better than their record shows. That unfortunately they just the luck of the draw. They couldn't pull off one of those wins.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and that's nobody's going to look at that and say, well, you're 0-2, so what? You're playing the top teams in the country, and as long as you're competitive and you're in the hunt, right? You're smashed by 30. You're in a good place. That doesn't hurt
Yeah.
at all to go out and play those teams. So
Yeah, and I think of another team, like a Morningside team that started off the year 19th in the country and went out and played Grace and Huntington, and they're leaving that trip 0-2. But a lot of new
yeah,
faces out there. I think that they are a team that no moral victories by any. I mean, I know that they won't like being 0-2, obviously, but at the same time, they got to learn a lot about themselves. They played two good teams out there in the Crossroads League, and that's gonna make them only better for the rest of the season, especially when they get into GPAC play.
yeah, yeah. A lot of good teams kind of got off to that good start too, right? The Indiana
Yeah.
Wesleyans, the Grace, Northwestern, Oklahoma Wesleyan, Ave, right? I mean, a lot of these teams got off to good starts in terms of the win-loss column, and it'll be fun to see that keep going.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, Coach, I know we're for those people that haven't tuned in, we are doing a top 5 list every week, a top 5 countdown. We'd love to hear from you guys as well. So don't feel free or don't be shy to put yours in the comments or even in the underneath the social media comments and stuff like that. But this week we are asking you, coming off Halloween weekend, Coach, I'll let you start with the top 5 Halloween traditions, activities, or treats that you have going.
Yeah, we going all 5, or how many you want?
No, we'll go five. We'll go five, and then we'll go four for this
Five
one.
and four. All right. Well, I'm just gonna lock in on the best candy of all time. And you can't be remiss. My kids pay the tax after they do trick or treating, and they're always paying with Lemonheads. So
Oh,
my number five is gonna be anytime I get my hands on Lemonheads, they're mine. So that's a win. And
I
our
like it.
neighborhood was giving out a healthy dose of those this year, so I was pretty excited about the loot that we hauled in the pillowcases on Friday night. It was a lot of fun. So Friday night was also my daughter's high school volleyball team had a great game, and so we got to watch that while the kids went out in the neighborhood. And then when that was over, I joined them, and I drove the truck around while I was watching one of my other ones that'll come up here at number three, but I'll save that
Oh,
for a
nice.
bit. So
Yeah. Nope. My number five. We the town I live in, we're kind of the smallest, I would say, metro town, the suburb, and so what they do, everybody was the 30th on trick or treat night, moved to 31st this year, on True Halloween, but my little town, my little suburb of Des Moines Metro, they have had a long tradition of going the Saturday before Thanksgiving or before Halloween. They like to stand out and be the first, and it's really fun because actually people, obviously kids from all over the metro, come in, and we get gobs and gobs of people
uh,
that come through. But it's really fun. I think it's I'm kind of I used to be a traditionalist. I think I would say for most holidays I'm a traditionalist, but I really think that this one's a lot of fun just because it gives kids another opportunity, especially on a Saturday where I know, like for a lot of kids, Fridays, or this Halloween Friday was playoff football in Iowa, and I know a
yeah.
lot of kids got pulled into that direction rather than being able to go out and go trick or treat on their own. So a lot of them end up going the Saturday before, and I think it was a lot of fun. So that's one of my favorites. What's your number four, Coach?
My number four is just the community piece of Halloween. I think it's a throwback holiday, right? Because you go, you walk out in the neighborhoods, and for the most part, it's just people outside, kids outside, families outside. You got fireplaces going in the driveways, and a lot of sense of community and a throwback to maybe some 20, 30 years ago, sort of what it used to be like, right, in neighborhoods. And I think that's really cool to see on display on Halloween. So I always like that ingredient of the holiday.
That's funny that that's your number four, because my number four is actually very similar. So we are very much a fire pit in the driveway family. Most of our, I would say, our neighborhood is definitely outside, not a ring the doorbell
Yeah.
type of community. But the other thing with us, with our community, when we do go walk around, you will see anything from hot dog bars
Oh,
to
stop.
we have like people barbecuing and putting out their spreads. Like it just is it, you talk about community, and that's a lot of it is it's not just trick or treating, it's more about the gatherings and the
Yeah.
talking, and some people even put up tents with like little, I would say a miniature haunted house like action that they have to go through, and but it's just cool to see everybody outside, and all that different activities, and they still have the candy for those that were wondering. They still have the candy at the hot dog bars too, but a lot more adults trick or treating in our neighborhood as well for the hot dog bars, and I would say that the other things that they pass out as well.
Yeah, I like that. There's a lot of treats to be had at Halloween,
Yeah,
right?
so definitely. But kind of going back through, Coach, circling back to some of the games we watched, I just want to cover what was some of the coolest or best things that you saw this week prior.
I think it's like some of the new faces, new coaches, people like that coming on display. It's always fun to see new programs. I know you had a chance to see Georgia Gwinnett, and they started off well. But again, playing, that's the other thing got to remind people of, right? You got people that are out right now. You got
Yeah,
significant injuries or people that are real key players on teams that may not come around for a month yet or 2 months or second semester. So I think for me, yeah, I was just kind of looking at the different new teams coming out, new storylines, new coaches. I kind of like seeing some people take some lumps early and see how they
yeah,
respond, right? Like we know Georgetown's really good, right? Like we know that. But they did take a couple losses, so it'll be interesting to see kind of how they respond. But I don't mind seeing that either. I think it's kind of fun to watch these sort of elite programs get up off the mat and have to navigate. Every season's a new
yeah.
season, right? And so doesn't really matter what happened last year, or the year before, or the year before. It's all about what happens now. And so, how are they moving in? It's good to see. I think Indiana Wesleyan's gonna be strong again this year. I know they took a little bit of a dip last year, and so it's always good to see them back up as well. But yeah, those are some of the things that jumped out to me.
Yeah, I'll jump in on your loss, thing. The team taking lumps. I look back at Oklahoma Wesleyan just last year. They were a team that I believe
Yeah,
started off number 5 in
great
the
example.
country, and
Yep.
yeah, number 5 in the country last year, and then they, between injuries and rosters and different stuff, trying to get some chemistry with guys being out. They took their lumps and fell outside the top 25, and then they got healthy at the right time of year. Went into they didn't win the KCAC tournament, but they were still a 7 seed, I believe. Went to Dort, and then ended up winning that regional, making all the way to the national championship game.
Yeah, great
They
example.
found the rhythm at the right time, but they were a top 5 program, and I think that's something that you mentioned, and is just a great point. Is that some of these teams, you know, don't count them out if they're losing early, because they'll fight, especially with good great coaches. I mean, Coach
Yeah,
Briggs has been around the block. Like
yeah, they'll be
he's
just fine.
not. Yeah,
They're gonna
he'll
figure
he'll
it out.
he'll figure it out for sure, and that's a good point. This is kind of lumps into that too. I mean, the new coaches a little bit. Coach Puma taking over, at Northwestern. But boy, I tell you what, when you're a first year coach, if you can have Jesse Van Kelsbeek and Jalen Langsley, that sure helps out a lot. I mean, I currently am trying to figure out. I have notes out to the NEI. I have notes out to. I was actually watching the games yesterday with Brent from the NEI, SID over there, and then I have a lot of SIDs around the NEI that I have notes out to, trying to figure out if anybody knows when the last time a 40-40 game happened. And what I mean by that is two teammates scoring 40 points in the same game like Northwestern did yesterday. Just an unbelievable outing for those two. And they're both great players. Like that, it's not shocking that they did, but just the fact that 40 points from each of them in a single game is just mind-boggling.
Yeah, yeah, and the total shootout, right? This is like a buck, 122 to 104 or something like that. I mean, I love those kind of games. I mean, knock them down, but yeah, pretty impressive. And and sometimes you see those scores against teams nobody's really heard of, so it doesn't quite mean as much, right? But when it's against quality teams, you kind of look at it and go, oh, okay, that's pretty hard to do. It's pretty hard for one kid to do in a college game, let alone two kids to do it. So yeah, incredibly impressive, and that's our team I had down. I mean, they came out strong out of the gates here, and they're not missing a beat. So,
Yeah, and yeah, no doubt they're not doing that. But one of the other notes I just had taken down, it was kind of cool to see, like St. Mary, Kansas. They lost to Langston in the, I believe, opening round, or maybe it was around a 32 last year. And then turn around, and they play them the first game of the season this year, and they got got to avenge their loss from last year. St. Mary's a team that has a lot of the same players back. Langston not so much, but those guys from St. Mary, I know they felt that a little bit and picked up 2 big wins this week. And then you look at Langston, and you look at even an LSU Alexandria team who both fell on Friday, turn around and picked up big wins on Saturday. I think those are always things that I like seeing too. Those teams that don't compound a loss with another loss, and Langston turned around and beating number 10 Oklahoma Wesleyan, and then LSU Alexandria going to Nelson and winning a big road win over number 19 Nelson. That's how you, and poor LSU Alexandria, that game on Friday with Texas Wesleyan was an overtime shootout as well, and they lost on a last second shot on a brilliant out of bounds play. For those that haven't watched it, we have it clipped. But the game winner there, but was just a great box set out of bounds or OB under play designed for their best player, and he stepped up, hit the shot right there in the corner, right in front of their bench, and really cool seeing the kids celebrating. That's always the fun part about basketball being back too, right? Is not just the wins, but you get the game winners, you get the reactions, you get the kids, and those things are fun all year round, and it's just good to have basketball back in general. But seeing some of those big plays is kind of what I noted for the things that I enjoyed watching this week as well.
yep, Yeah, couldn't
Basketball is
agree
back,
more.
baby.
So basketball is back.
Yeah. Well, speaking of being back, we'll move on to our number three on our top five list of Halloween traditions, activities, or treats that we enjoy.
Yeah, it seems like not every year, but it sure seems like most years there's a really good World Series game on Halloween Day. That World Series was one of the best World Series of my lifetime. If anybody didn't watch last night, you should have. There's not a better Game 7 last night, but the night before wasn't bad either. And so driving, I did hop in the truck. I'm not gonna lie, for part of the trick or treating night, and I had the phone going on the dashboard. I had the audio going, and kids were hopping in and out of the back of the truck while I was watching the World Series game driving around. But I always love a great, just playoff baseball going on with all the people out and everything. So that falls at my number three.
Yeah, I love it. Playoff baseball is very underrated, I think, as far as the sports go. But yeah, my number five, we and I know this maybe not be the case across the country. And I have another one at number one that's going to be very similar. That maybe not across the country as well, but we are Midwest people are very big into our pumpkin patches and our
Yeah,
orchards, and and when I say pumpkin patches and orchards, I'm talking about like where you show up and it's a whole day activity because they have games, they have
yeah,
corn mazes, they have I mean basically anything you could do with a kid activity is there. And it's just a lot of fun to be with the family and hang out and go to those. And it's you pick out your you got to go walk through the actual pumpkin patch and pick out your pumpkins. And we didn't get a chance to go pick our apples this year. But I enjoy doing that as well. It's just kind of fun family stuff, fall stuff that you do one time a year, so it's a lot
yeah,
of fun.
yeah. One day, no doubt. That's good.
Yeah. How about we'll jump into our number two as well, Coach, on this one. What's
Number
your number two?
two. Yeah, I'm just. We'll go on the pumpkin theme there. It's just simply carving them. Carving them, locking in on some pumpkin seeds. I love doing that with my kids. I have for years. We just have a blast with them. Go to Costco and get the steroid injected pumpkins that are the size of my upper body, and you can pretty much swim in them while you're while you're getting them
Yeah.
carved up, but just carving those up, and yeah, that's those are always fun moments.
Well, my number two, and this is I'm only gonna shame the weirdos out there. So if you're not a weirdo, you can bypass this one. But shame on you weirdos for taking away the homemade treats, at Halloween. Because one of my favorite things, Coach, when I was going trick or treating growing up, was the popcorn balls
Oh,
that you
solid.
got.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, the homemade popcorn balls, and unfortunately, there's just too many weirdos out there anymore. The homemade treats are a big no-no in trick or
yeah,
treating these days, and but I do miss me a good popcorn ball. Those
yeah,
things, and maybe I'm aging myself with that as well, but I'm okay with it because those were some of the best Halloween when they'd put the little orange or green coating on it. It was very very good.
yeah, yeah. I agree.
So moving on, Coach, to our we'll finish up with our games we're looking forward to the most this week. You got a couple games on your list?
I got one really in particular that I'm most interested in is that Oregon Tech Masters game. I think it's on Friday night. Just excited to see those two teams go at each other. I had another one written down, but probably not of interest to too many people, but it was to me just based on our interview with them last year. But is that Baker St. Mary's game? I like watching
Yeah.
those two teams go at each other. But those were a couple, and the second one obviously is probably a little bit more just based on some connection we had with coaches last year. But yeah, so those are a couple this week I'm looking forward to watching.
Yeah, I like those two as well. I got there's a game I actually mentioned both these teams already, but Mid American Nazarene playing Oklahoma Wesleyan, and I
Yep.
love it because it's going to be a little bit of a contrasting of styles a little bit. One, I want to see Mid American Nazarene, on the road a little bit too, because they were at home this weekend and looked like they couldn't miss, but but they're in, they hit the road and play one of the best defense teams in the country in Oklahoma Wesleyan. Oklahoma Wesleyan it can score it as well, but they struggled a little bit against Langston to score the ball. In a slow kind of physical battle on Saturday. One, I want to see how Oklahoma Wesleyan bounces back, but also there's a Mid American Nazarene team that looked pretty good early. So I'm very well. That's on Tuesday. I believe 7 o'clock a game. I'm very looking forward to that one a lot as well. And then I have one. that's I'll throw out a couple more, I guess. But on Wednesday, Florida Memorial and Indiana Wesleyan. I know
Yeah,
Florida Memorial lost a lot and a coach as well. But that's it's always just a fun battle. I feel like the Crossroads League and the Sun are two different kind of contrasts of styles a little bit too. I know Indiana Wesleyan will kind of play up tempo as well, but um, you know it's in Lucky, which is always a
yeah,
tough place to win, but it's just always a fun matchup. And no matter what the score is, I just love watching games like that. I'm interested in that one on Wednesday, and then I have some on Friday. I talked about the classics that I enjoy watching. It brings some non-conference games that you don't always see, and one of those that I really like is going to. Oh, I lost my notes real quick. Oh, Huntington coming off a big weekend this weekend. They're going to host Pikeville. Pikeville hasn't played a game yet, which is this is kind of what we talked about a couple episodes before. Is that we always have this where some teams are playing 3, 4, 5 games, and some teams will have one game going in. And that's what we're going to face going in. I believe that Pike has a game earlier in the week, but I'm really interested in that. It's the Nest Bros Hall of Fame Classic in Huntington. But Pikeville Huntington sounds like a really fun matchup, and Huntington being able to pick up a couple wins this weekend, coming off the Morningside win, can they carry that momentum into this weekend as well? You talked about Oregon Tech, the Masters. I'm really looking forward to that one as well. I want to dive into that one. But then I got another one. In I will say that Morningside and Mid American Nazarene play as well this weekend, which will be fun. But I want to talk about MNU enough. So, but Montana Western coming off a good weekend as
yeah.
well.
Lewis Clark.
They're gonna go. They're gonna play Lois Clark State at Montana Tech. I think that's gonna be a really good one. And then I believe Lois Clark State on Saturday plays Montana Tech. And if my memory serves me right, I believe the last 2 games between Montana Tech and Lois Clark State have been down the wire. I know last year was a last second shot game winner. So I know there were some clock issues in that game a little bit as well. So just some of those those games where people remember that. I think the teams will remember a little bit, and always fun matchups. And Lois Clark State and Montana Tech are always really great matchups. I know there's a ton more across the board, but those are
Oh
the
yeah.
ones I'll highlight for now. And we could spend a whole hour episode talking about matchups coming up, but I do think that those are some of the good ones to pay attention to.
Yeah, that is for sure. I mean, yeah, like you said, you got good games all over the place. I had that Pikeville Huntington one down as well as one I'm interested in, and then you got some that aren't even like marquee, but just games I like to see. Two
Yeah,
quality programs like you got an Olivet and a Cornerstone going at each other up in Grand Rapids, and there's so many good games out there and fun stuff. Just encourage people to pick a few and watch this week. It really doesn't matter which ones you watch. It'll be good hoops coming out of that. Like you said, the game's going on at Lucky Arena. Miami Gardens and Lucky Arena couldn't be two different places. And but it's funny though. Both those venues are great venues. I mean, the Florida Memorial Arena is awesome. If you've never been in there, I mean, it's like a Division One arena. But then you got Lucky Arena is an awesome place as well, and it's just kind of probably be eye-opening for our guys from Florida to get up into small town Indiana. It's a totally different environment, but it's great. It's just fun to see those kind of, like you said, contrasting styles go at each other, and you never know what can happen on those nights. So it's fun to watch.
yeah, no doubt. It's all about controlling the tempo, right? Controlling the game, and
Yeah,
and ultimately being better at what you do than what others are at what they do. And that's kind of this time of year is a lot of it. The other part, and this is just a general statement, but what's really fun is watching teams once they get tape on them, right? Because now you got scouting reports on you. You got teams that are going to start trying to make some adjustments. They're going to be trying to make adjustments on their own too. They got to
sure.
try to maybe fix some of their own holes. But now that tape are out on some teams, scouting reports will get better. And then, those games, I just like watching. You talked about it earlier a little bit on, watching teams develop over the season. And that's kind of a big part of it, right? It's like you got to adjust to teams adjusting to you. And then the scouting reports are out, whether it's trying to shut down certain players or certain sets or whatever it is. Teams are going to try to beat you. And now they have film on you and they know, they can put better game plans in. And if they get and execute it, it's just so fun to watch the strategy side of it back and forth, and that's something I really like once we get film out on teams. So I'll be looking forward to that this week as well. But Coach, let's go ahead and finish our top 5 Halloween traditions, activities, or treats. What do you got for number 1?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the come on man category, right? Which is, when the kids are out trick or treating, they look in the bag and they get things like my kids came home with like a potato or like Christmas ornament gnomes or like a pencil or something like that. Like, come on, man, you like just turn your lights off and don't participate if that's what we're gonna do. Like, we get it, candy not healthy, blah blah blah, but we're gonna hand out potatoes. Uh, so I got come on man as my number one.
Hey, I'm gonna add one to that come on man list. Okay, whoever hands out whistles at Halloween, like the
What
little
are we covering?
toys.
Super balls, whistles. I mean,
Oh man, like I'm
potatoes.
telling you, 1,000 kids walking around blowing whistles is
Oh,
no fun for me. Oh man, and I'm not trying to be like a ball humbug at Halloween, but
I am.
you
I
know,
want some candy. I'm not trying to get potatoes when I go out. They're pencils, they're
well
rulers.
my
What are we doing?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you on that too.
Uh,
That's a great one. I love it for your number one. My number one, I thought was a. You know how you grew up, coach, and you think that your norm is everybody else's
yeah,
norm, and
yeah,
that's just kind of what I didn't know that this was not a thing worldwide. Worldwide, but
yeah,
countrywide. But in Iowa, it's custom that you tell a joke before you get a treat. So you go up and trick or treat, and they ask you what your joke is, and that's one of my favorite things is like listening to some of them very PG but very funny, and some of them, there's a wide range of jokes out there now.
yeah.
But at the same time, it's a fun tradition. I did not know that everybody didn't do it until I left Iowa. But it's a fun tradition, and kids love it. Like kids love like I'm telling you, watching their face when they tell their
Yeah.
joke is just awesome. And even if they're bad, you still tell them it's great because you don't want to hurt the kids' feelings. But it is a fun tradition here in Iowa, and I wish,
That's
I guess I thought everybody else did it, but I wish everybody else did it because it is a lot of fun.
no shade on Iowa here. That's not what this is intended to say, but every time we talk about Iowa, it never ceases to amaze me. It's like you're your own country.
For
Sometimes
real,
people say
no doubt.
Texas is their own country. I really believe like Iowa's its own country.
Oh yeah,
And nobody, yeah, I'd never heard of that tradition either. But hey, go Iowa, I guess. That's fun. You got great
yeah.
community, good Midwest community there, and probably pick up a few good dad jokes along the way that you could sprinkle in throughout the year. And
Oh yeah,
some kids probably got a stand-up comic act in their future as well. So it's good to see on all
oh yeah.
fronts.
Yep. It's a lot of fun, and to be honest with you, like not to go all old timer on anybody either, but I just think it's awesome because it's the verbal skills for kids, right?
Yeah, it's
Like
cool.
teaching them to teach them to talk to people and interact. And obviously, I have no issues with talking to people, but in general, but it's just cool to see like kids actually like you have to interact and socialize. And for me, it's an awesome tradition, and I love it here in Iowa. And like you just said, go Iowa.
That's right.
If we are our own country, then
You
that's
are,
so be it. But
basically.
love it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, just wrapping up. We did. If you missed the announcement this week, we did partner up with the KCAC for some more extended coverage. So be on the lookout for some of that this week. I will be. It should be out tomorrow. We have. I'll hit the road after this Georgetown Arizona Christian game and get home and work on that tonight. But excited about that partnership and being able to put some highlights on a conference in the league. And I appreciate their leadership team reaching out and trying to figure out how we could make that work because it was a lot
Yeah.
of fun to work through that, and excited for that. Put some highlights on another great league. But also just looking out, we do have our if you're listening to this, we have our categories league or categories week. Sorry, our week in review by categories. It's everybody's favorite thing to look at, and I just want to tell you right now that we have probably got maybe 12 dunks already on here, and one of them was on Sports Center top 10. Um, they all could be Sports Center top 10. So I have talked to a couple people. We are going to do a dunk of the week, but we are
Oh,
also going to we have a dunk a week already every week, but we're going to have one. But also, I think I'm going to put the all the dunks this week on a highlight clip because they were out and happening this week. It was a lot of fun, and I always enjoy the nominations coming through because some of them I watched, some of them I missed, and get to see come through. But just a lot of fun. But I just wanted to make sure people knew we do see every dunk, and it is a fun. And we're gonna put a highlight reel together this week, just because I think this may be one of the best. We last year was our first year doing it, but this may be the most dunks we've had. Where I'm just like, how do you pick one? So
Yeah, that's cool.
we're gonna still pick one. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. We're gonna pick one. But
All
we're
right.
also gonna highlight all of them, just because I think it's important to do that, and it shows off just the talent and athletic ability at the NAIA level. A lot of fun to watch as well. So
Cool.
stay tuned for that. But until next time, this is Coach Lebbers Jr. signing off.